Doctors are looked to as heroes, people who can save lives, but doctors also lose patients and see sickness on a daily basis. All that sadness pushes many to the point of taking their own life. NBC 26's Holly Baker spoke with local doctors about how they handle the heartache before it gets to be too much in tonight's special report. Doctors and Suicide only on NBC 26.
Suicide than other professions. And until recently, some felt it was considered weak to even mention feeling overwhelmed by the job. But now, more doctors are doing more to get people talking about it.
It can be difficult dealing with giving the news at the end of the life. Where it's most difficult is someone that you've thought that you've cured.
The weight of that news cannot be measured.
Many times I'm the one that finds these cancers that actually determines that it's an incurable cancer.
For some doctors, it becomes too much, and they choose to change professions, retire early, or end their own life because of emotional exhaustion. Dr. Peter Johnson at Aurora Baycare Medical Center says he's lost colleagues to suicide after being surrounded by despair.
It's something that they need to accept, and it's going to be people they never expect. You know, they're out there working and the 25-year-old comes in after a bad car accident and is dead on arrival. The 10-year-old, I mean, that's medicine, that's life.
Dr. Johnson is the director of gynecological oncology and palliative care, which is optimizing quality of life in those who have life-limiting illnesses. Many of his patients are women with incurable cancers. He's had to give a lot of bad news and feel a lot of shared pain. It's a burden, he says, comes with the job.
You never can get it completely out of your mind. I think if you do, you shouldn't be in medicine anymore. When it stops hurting, you probably shouldn't be doing it anymore.
Organizations like Prevent Suicide Fox Cities work to educate the public on depression and mental illness, something that plays a role in 90% of suicides.
Mental illness has such a stigma around it, and people have a hard time acknowledging those around them who have mental illness, or if they have mental illness themselves.
That stigma is preventing people from speaking up, especially doctors in high-stress jobs that need an outlet for the heartache they constantly see. In his 26 years as a physician, Dr. Johnson says only in recent years has it become acceptable to talk about the stress and fatigue.
When I started this 20 years ago, you would have been laughed out of the room had you even discussed this.
And in that time, he's learned the value of spirituality, mindfulness, and meditation, and seeing the good even when surrounded by sadness.
And I've done my best. I've done everything I know. I continue reading, learning new techniques, new ways of treating the cancers, but I've done everything I can and it still fails. That's not my fault. It's all about helping people. Somebody that cannot have radiation, cannot have chemo, cannot have surgery, there's no further treatment remaining, I can keep them comfortable. I can give them peace.
Mary Sullivan with Prevent Suicide Fox Cities says people in those positions should not be taught to put their own emotions aside, but recognize the need for self-care and how mental illness affects so many people who are afraid to speak up.
It's very important to have self-care and a plan for your self-care. What do you need to do every day to take care of yourself?
Dr. Johnson has developed structure for his life revolving around peace and serenity.
Here and now, so in the moment, living in the moment, breathe and relax. Aaron Rodgers said that, I think, 2 years ago too, didn't he?
And says it's important to always have hope, even when accepting sad news, whether you are the patient or the doctor.
There's a finality there. There's a sense of calmness many times with this once that occurs, and it makes you just so much more aware of how precious life is and how we deal with each other day to day, moment to moment is what's really important. It's little things.
If you or someone you know is dealing with depression, suicidal thoughts, or mental illness, there are lots of resources available right here in Northeast Wisconsin. But the most important thing is to start talking about it. Holly Baker, NBC 26.
Thanks, Holly. And for a list of resources you can turn to, we've got them on our website, nbc26.com.